What is the greatest comeback to an insult you've ever heard? Young lady was acting like a total Indus restaurant to the staff, and this middle-aged lady said, "Oh honey, you're not pretty enough to act like that." In a heated argument my mom called my brother a son of a. He replied, "You got that right." A friend of mine in first year university had never really dated any girls yet. This dumb meathead that we were kind of friends with told him, "When you do get a girlfriend, I'm totally going to her." He responded, "If I had a girlfriend that would you. Her cheating on me wouldn't be the issue." Not quite an insult, but I still think of this comeback to this day. I have 2 little brothers, and it was my dad's birthday, so the semi-extended family were all at a restaurant to celebrate. I had just graduated from my dad's alma mater, and my middle brother was currently a junior there. My youngest brother, a freshman, however, opted to go to state school. At one point my uncle said, "So, youngest brother, how does your dad feel about you breaking the trend of our last name, men going to alma mater?" My little bro thought for a moment and then said, "Well, he probably doesn't mind considering I also broke the trend of not being able to get higher than a 3.0. The table exploded, and my other brother and I just stared at each other across the table like, holy, did we just get brutally murderer? It's especially funny because my little bro was one of those shy high school kids who went off to college and came back fun and socially confident. I was hoping that development would happen. I just never expected it to stab me in the king face. 1. Everyone thinks you're an hole. 2. Well, you know what everyone thinks about you? Nothing. No one ever thinks about you. I know I don't. My dear grandmother. She had a quick and savage wit. My fiance and I held a meet the whole family get together at my house. It was the first time his father met my grandmother. His dad was a large, physically intimidating man with a beer gut. He began telling stories to my grandmother about how my fiance was a mischief maker when he was young. Then told my grandmother how he would take off his belt and whip Joe for being bad. My frail little grandmother stares directly at my hubby's dad's tummy and says, "Your belt. However could you find it?" Future father-in-law was gobsmacked. Gordon Ramsay asks his daughter on camera, "So what's it like being the daughter of the most famous chef in the world?" His daughter replies, "I wouldn't know. Jamie Oliver's not my dad." Boom. Roasted. Random kid, I bet you can't see your penis in the shower, my friend. Nope, only your mom's head. Yes, I know this comeback was taken from somewhere, but that doesn't make it worse. Was once criticized by an older family member for having a straight tooth. That gave me a bit of a craggy smile as an adolescent. It has settled in nicely. I was raised to not criticize what people can't help and to give compliments where possible, and so I did just that. Sorta. Nice crocodile smile. Me. Thanks. It's just that tooth, you know, makes your smile all crooked, but it's not that bad. You could get it fixed. Me, I suppose, but I know I'll never have teeth as nice as yours are. They are like stars. Like stars? You mean as in bright? Me, no, as in they come out at night. My uncle had given me a book called 1001 Insults for Every Occasion a while earlier, and that gem was in it. From Casablanca. You despise me, don't you, Rick? If I ever gave you any thought I might. When I was in middle school many years ago, a bully was teasing an awkward kid about not being able to get girls and being gay, and never being able to get laid. Another bully spoke up to the first bully and said, "You ain't had since, had you?" And the entire class and the teacher started laughing. The original bully shut up. Update: teacher didn't start belly laughing with everyone in the middle of the class. This occurred between classes as students were coming in. Teacher definitely heard, definitely smiled, and stifled his laugh. IRC, he said, "Knock it off, boys. Time for class to begin." Nobody clapped. No principal came in and clapped. This happened 30 years ago. Bully 1 is a police officer now. Bully 2 is a semi-truck driver. Awkward kid is a mechanical engineer. Lunch lady got me in front my whole class. Tuna fish was for lunch. I said, "Tuna fish, I'd rather a sandwich." Without missing a beat, this 80-year-old lady fires back, "Wait right there, I can make you one in the back." Needless to say, I went with the tuna. I heard a story once about some girls in an elevator who were insulting some black guy in another language they thought he didn't understand. Hindi, I think, specifically commenting on his ugly black face. Apparently the guy waited till the elevator reached his floor, looked at them, and in perfect Hindi said, "Better to have an ugly face than an ugly heart," and left. A girl told me if I took my shirt off at the beach the glare would blind everyone because I was so pale. I told her, at least when I go the beach, people don't try to push me back into the sea. Winston Churchill has attributed some great ones. Lady Astor, Mr. Churchill, you're drunk. Churchill, yes madam, and you are ugly, but tomorrow I shall be sober. And also, Lady Astor, Winston, if you were my husband, I'd poison your tea. Churchill, Nancy, if I were your husband, I'd drink it. Was jokingly asked out to year 10th formal, prom, in front of whole class by a popular girl, who definitely had no interest in me. I without a moment's hesitation, say no thanks Lauren. I have standards whole class and teacher lost it. Sitting in a bar at 3 AM off of Bourbon Street. The windows are just open shutters. Dude who just left the bar leans in on our table to shout at some friends still in the bar. One of our group makes a silly/snide comment. Dude leaning in smacks the table with an open palm and says, "Everybody who ever loved you was wrong." Then he walks away without looking back. We still revel in that story. Edit. It was Harry's Corner at Charters and Domain. Also, for those of you saying how cruel this was, it was all said in the good-natured camaraderie that can only be accomplished by drunks at 3 AM. We took it as a great insult in good fun, and all of us, including the insultee, just howled with laughter. During my university days, I ran into a friend/acquaintance of mine, and I was holding a Green Lantern graphic novel. My friend introduced me to his current girlfriend and the first thing she says to me while shaking my hand was, "Aren't comic books for kids?" And I replied, "Aren't those A-cups for kids?" Honestly, I was in so much shock that someone I just met would say that to me that I replied on instinct. Still my greatest comeback ever. I was playing spades one time and the guy tried to lead the game off with a spade. I told him he couldn't do that. Spades have to be broken first. He refused to play by the rules, so I refused to play. He started singing, "The wheels on the bus go round and round," to imply that I was acting like a child. He asked me, "Do you know why I'm singing that?" I said, "Yeah, 'cause I'm taking you to school." A street hustler is trying to hand out/sell CDs and an overweight gentleman walks by and says no thanks. Hustler, if it was a donut, you'd eat it. Tubby, if it was $1, you'd beg for it. I was in first grade and we were on the bus about to go home, and some mean bully yelled at me, and it went like this. Bully, "Hey, my name, why are you so gay?" Me, "Because I like to copy you." Bus, "Oh. That was the best comeback I have ever made," and the kid behind me said, "How nice." Then like bro slapped my hand, and I felt so cool. Later in 7th grade I figured out I was gay, so checkmate bully. My science teacher assigned a really hard test and almost everyone failed. Everyone complained and she responded with, "Someone got a 93%, so it's not impossible." Then this one kid in the back said, "The answer key doesn't count, Mrs. Teacher." Teacher asks a tough question. Jimmy says the correct answer. Karen, "Lol, you're such a nerd." Teacher, "Be nice to him, Karen. He could be your boss someday." Jimmy, "It's okay, teacher. I have no interest on being a pimp anyway." Whole class losing their minds. Today in one of my classes we were working on a project about careers, and one of the kids shouted, "I want to be a male stripper." The teacher responded, "I think you might be missing some of the qualifications for that job." Edit. The student was male. Just out of curiosity as to how good this actually was, for years, I was told that my sort of comeback was the best thing that anybody had ever heard, mostly because I was the quiet kid that nobody could get a rise out of. Naturally, because they couldn't get a rise out of me, everybody tried to get me flustered by insulting me or framing me for things that no teacher ever believed, because it was never the quiet kid. Essentially, I walked into class one day and the teacher wasn't there, but this other girl, S, was up at the whiteboard writing out a long running joke about our teacher that him off. It was about his assigned teacher number, and 2 years of developing a joke is a bit hard to explain. It became a bit of an inside joke. Either way, I sat down, she finished, and the teacher came in, noticing what was written on the board. He asked who did it, and immediately, this girl and a few of the girls around her said, Severin did it. Note, we were about 15 at the time, so they should have been beyond this. I don't know what it was, but something made me wordlessly walk up to the board, fix her spelling and punctuation errors, and then sit down. Only when I had sat down did I turn to the girl who'd done it to say, I have standards. The class collectively lost there, including the girls who hadn't seen it coming, and the teacher laughed so hard he went red in the face and cried. To me, it seems like they just found it so funny, because it was me, because I don't see anything particularly special or savage about it. Someone once told me I had a face only a mother could love. I responded with yes, your mother. I was at a Jets home game back when the Giants and them shared Giants Stadium. Someone wearing a Jets jersey says to someone wearing a Miami Dolphins uniform, this is our house. Dude in Miami Dolphins uniform, you're in Giants Stadium hole. Lost my after that one. Edit, the stadium is called MetLife Stadium now. Crotchety old bat from my grandparents' church, why can't you be more like Michael, he's such an angel. Me, a 15-year-old intellectual who knew Michael did things that would straighten the perm out of her hair. If you'd actually read the Bible, you'd know Satan was an angel too. The annoying kid of the grade had a spray bottle and kept on spraying it on people, even though they asked him to stop, and some girl walked to him, and it went something like this, dude, can you stop? Nah, or, is it the only way you can make a girl wet? In 8th grade this kid yelled in the cramped hallway, hurry up and move you'll smell like, to which I replied, it's cause your mouth is too close to your nose. And my junior year of high school this huge girl called me an wipe for no reason, so I said you're just mad I can actually wipe my. Here's my favorite self-burn. In high school math class, a nice, nerdy guy named Richard, a jerk whose name I forget, let's call him Jerk. Jerk keeps calling Richard Dick, like, hey, Dick, did you get the answer to 4? Richard keeps calmly saying, it's Richard. Finally the teacher says, Richard, what do you prefer to be called? Richard says, I prefer Richard. Jerk says, well I prefer Dick. After a few seconds of uproarious laughter from the rest of the class, Jerk realized what he said and sunk as far down in his seat as possible and never bugged Richard again. We were teenagers in the 80s, so this was the height of hilarity. I have read this historical meme where it went like this. British person, you, French people, fight for only money. We, British, fight for honor. French person, well, people fight for what they need the most. Alright, so it goes like this. I had a bully in high school who was tiny, like under 5 foot. I was 6 feet 3 inches at the time, so he would always pick on me, throw stuff at my head, push me around, stuff like that. I never fought back cause I hate violence. Anyway, one day we were in a class together and the class went on lockdown. It wasn't a drill, but we were told the campus wasn't in danger. So jokingly I said, I know why we are locked down. Maybe the zombie apocalypse started. The bully immediately replies, you dumb zombies aren't real. I shot back, yeah well we didn't think hobbits were real, but you're standing here aren't you? He lunged at me and got in trouble. Edit, I should mention too, that this kid later apologized to me, and I completely forgave him for everything he did. Lots of talk of beating people up in the comments. Breed love not hate boys and girls.